What's up, everybody? My name is Key Air, and you are watching the important things that really matter. Today, we're going to go into part 3 of Artists, You Are the Business. And part 3, we're going to be talking about the cost for studio time. This extremely important subject, because a lot of people don't know what it costs for studio time. So I'm going to tell you today. One of the things that you need to understand if you're an artist, such as you're a singer or you're a musician or songwriter or a poet, all of these type of artists are eventually going to end up in the studio. And you need to know how much it costs in the studio and how to reduce your costs, which I'm going to show you and tell you today what to do. So let's talk about the cost of the metropolitan Detroit area. In the metropolitan Detroit area, a reputable studio will cost you anywhere from $75 an hour to about $125 an hour, around that range. And that will also depend on what time you go to record. So what do I mean by that? If you go and record or book studio time in the middle of the day, you're going to be paying the highest cost for studio time. If you go and record in the middle of the night, like most artists do, this is the main reason why people record 1, 2, 3, or 4 o'clock in the morning. The main reason is because the rates for studio time are cheaper in the middle of the night. So once again, the range that you may pay for studio time in the Metro Detroit area will be anywhere from about $75 an hour to about $125 an hour for reputable studio. Now, if you are in Los Angeles or if you are in Nashville, the studio costs in these areas is going to be somewhere between $250 an hour to about $600 an hour. Let me say that again in case you didn't hear me properly. In these areas which I mentioned, New York, LA, Nashville, you will be spending somewhere between $250 an hour to about $600 an hour. Now you're like, wow. I had talked with a owner of a studio one time, and I asked a very important question while I was going to the school. I said, on average, how long does it take to record one song? And the studio owner told me, on average, it's going to take about 30 to 40 hours. 30 to 40 hours to record one song. So let's do the math to figure this stuff out. Let's say, for instance, we book a studio. Studio is costing about $300 an hour for studio time. And let's use the number 40 hours because that was the number that was given to me, anywhere from 30 to 40 hours to record one song. So let's use the number 40 hours times $300. That will cost you $12,000. That will cost you $12,000. And so what we're going to talk about today are secrets of established artists. You're going to have a lot of golden nuggets in this video, as in the last 2 videos I did. One of the things that you need to understand is this. There are artists which they call starving artists. There is a reason why they call starving artists. One of the main reasons is that these artists are the type of artists, they only want to concentrate on their craft. And that's it. They only want to concentrate on their craft. So they're keyboardists and all they want to do is play on their keyboards. Or they are a singer and all they want to do is sing. Okay, well that's fine and all. But many times your art is not going to produce enough income for you to live off of. And if it is, it's still just going to be a minimum amount of money. And so this is one of the secrets to get around that. One of the things I had to learn is that you have to take the long route so that you're not a starving artist. There is a reason why they call some artists starving artists, because some artists are literally starving. They don't have enough money coming in from their art. They don't have enough booking engagements to perform on a regular basis to have enough money to be able to support themselves. You do not want to be a starving artist. So the way to get around that is you have to take the long route. And this is one of the things that I learned from established artists that have been artists for many, many years. And one of the things I learned from them is you got to have a decent paying job. A decent paying job. And it's even better if you have a good paying job. Most established artists have a decent paying job. The woman that used to be my vocal teacher, she was a teacher in the public school system. So she had a job, and her job supplied enough money to pay for her car note, to pay for her house, to pay for the furniture in her house and other things along those particular lines. And what she would do, like on the weekends or so, she would go out and perform. She was an excellent singer. She was an African-American jazz vocalist. She sounds as good as Ella Fitzgerald. When I first heard this woman sing, I'm like, my God. You could tell people who have been practicing their art for many years. But she wasn't a starving artist. But she worked in the public school system. So she made money from the public school system. She made additional money from performing like on the weekends or whenever she was able to get a gig. But if she was not able to get a gig, she had enough money coming from the public school system to be able to take care of her needs and stuff. So that is a key nugget right there. You don't want to be like some of these artists and their attitude is, I just want to study my art and that's it. You don't want to be one of those artists. I know a guy that's just like that. He was living out of a van. I don't want to live out of a van. I don't know about you. So to prevent him against that, you got to go get you a good, decent paying job, and preferably a good paying job. Let me tell you what I did. I took the long route in being an artist. I graduated from high school. Now, all during that time period, I had a great love for music, and later on I found out that I had a talent, ability, and skill to be able to write songs and to write poetry and to perform poetry. I didn't realize that talent that I had until later on. But I always had a desire for music production and to compose music, and I studied music for a long time. So when I graduated from high school, I went right into a university. I went to a Big Ten university in Michigan, very, very large university. And when I went into the university, to study electrical engineering. And while I was there studying electrical engineering, I did kind of change my field a little bit, but I still was in an engineering related field. And so anyway, I went through that whole process. You know how long it takes to get a 4-year degree. And since I was working and going to school at the same time, it took me 5 years. Yeah, it took me about 5 years to graduate because I was working and going to school at the same time. You have to do what you have to do to get ahead, so long that it's legal and not illegal, okay? You got to make that point, because some people be like, I had to do what I got to do. You know, no, having that attitude, I got to do what I got to do, and doing some illegal stuff can get you put in prison for the rest of your life, or 25 years, okay? Which is pretty much the rest of your life if you're doing prison time for 25 years. Some people are just too lazy to get off their butts and go learn a skilled trade. And if you learn a skilled trade, especially if you're working in the auto industry, you can make yourself some real nice money if you're in the skilled trades and working in the auto industry. Or if you just went to school to get a bachelor's degree or even your master's degree. A lot of people was not out there committing crimes in the community to get ahead in the music industry. So don't listen to that crap. If everyone really had to go about their route, everybody would have done that. And most folks don't do that. So don't be doing some crazy stuff in your community that's messing your community up. Real quick, for a side note, if you're out here, you selling pharmaceuticals to different people, the same woman or the same guy that you're selling your pharmaceuticals or whatnot, that's the same guy that may be a father of some kids or father of the family or a mother of some kids or mother of the family. And instead of them taking their money home, taking care of their kids and their family. They're taking their money because of an addiction, taking it to the person that's selling pharmaceuticals. So now the people that's doing that is destroying a family, and it's destroying many families. Get you a job, work hard, go get you a degree, or if not a degree, you can learn a skilled trade where you're gonna make some good money. Don't cause the community any additional problems because you feel like you listen to some guy over here saying that they have to sell pharmaceuticals to get ahead in the music industry. Don't do that, because all you're going to do is cause a lot of havoc in your community, and you're gonna be destroying families, because the same people that's buying this stuff from other people is gonna be taking their money to these people instead of taking their money home and taking care of their kids and their families with. So do the right thing. Some of those people who haven't did the right thing have been in prison for 20 years, 25 years. I know a guy right now, he just got out of prison for doing 25 years in prison. I'm like, dude, are you serious? He's like, yeah, man, I just got out and now I'm working a regular job. And so now the guy is thinking to himself, he should have went that route to begin with anyway. He had wasted 25 years in a prison facility. So don't do anything illegal. Don't do anything that's gonna cause problems in your community or rip families apart. They're already ripped apart already. Don't contribute to the problem. Be a solution to the problem. So back to what I was saying before. Whatever it is, you have you a decent paying job on the side to go and do your art like on the weekends, or do your art when you get off of work. You follow what I'm saying? So then that way you'll have the income from your decent paying job or good job, and then still be able to do your art. Now, another big secret in having a good paying job, in addition to being an artist and doing your art, is if you have a good paying job, you will not have to go to the bank to get a loan to buy equipment or anything else. You will not have to go to a bank to take out a loan to buy the equipment that you need to be able to do your art. I was an automotive engineer, so I was making good money. While I was an automotive engineer, I went back to school to learn how to be a studio engineer. While I was a studio engineer, I became familiar with digital equipment, digital consoles, analog consoles. I became familiar with the different microphones and the different usages of the microphones, how to use analog console or digital console. I ended up buying a digital console. I not only went to buy a digital console, I went and bought microphones. These items are not cheap. I'm a music producer, also a music composer. What do you think a keyboard costs? A decent keyboard that is called a workstation. These keyboard workstations usually cost anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 for a high-end keyboard. But these high-end keyboards, which are also called workstations, also function as a studio. Some of these keyboards, you can hook a microphone into the keyboard and sing into. So these keyboards can actually act and function as a studio. Now, there's a keyboard out right now. I'm not going to mention its name. You can hook a microphone right into the keyboard and record your vocals into. But this particular keyboard workstation is like $3,500, $4,000, $5,000 for this keyboard. But once you get this keyboard, you should never need another piece of equipment ever again, okay? Or in terms of sounds and stuff. But anyway, the point of the matter is that I'm making is that this equipment costs a lot of money. Most of the microphones that I have dealt with in the past are around $700, $800, or $900. Now, there are microphones that you can spend $10,000 on or $5,000 for one microphone. Who wants to spend $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 for one microphone? That's too much money. The point that I'm making is if you have a good paying job, you do not have to go to the bank to get a loan to get a digital console, or get a loan to get some microphones, plural, or to get some cables, or to buy some keyboards, or anything else that you might need to be able to make some music, to be able to produce your own high quality music CD. You're gonna need money. If you have a good paying job, you will not have to go to a bank. You just work a little extra overtime and have the money to buy whatever equipment that you need to get. In addition to that, there's gonna be a point in time where you might wanna have your CDs manufactured. So that means that you're going to have to pay somebody to do the graphics for your CDs. You won't have to pay for studio time because you're a studio engineer. You went and learned about all the stuff, so you can do all that yourself. Just that by itself, you'd have saved yourself thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from being able to do the studio engineer work your own self. Okay, you eventually gonna put together a product. You gotta get the graphics done. That's got to be paid for. If you're in the studio, you might call different artists in to lay some tracks down for you. So that means you got to pay those individual artists or those individual musicians to come lay some tracks down for you. Pay for the CDs to be manufactured after you get the graphics done. So you may order 500 CDs or you may order 1,000 CDs. Well, the money's got to come from somewhere. They're not going to just send you 500 CDs or 1,000 CDs and, okay, we'll get the money back from you whenever you feel like paying it back. They're not going to do that. They're going to want all their money up front before they even start work in manufacturing your project. Well, the money that you're going to need to manufacture your project is going to come from your good paying job. Okay. See, this is why it's important to continue to graduate from high school, go on and get additional education after high school, so it puts you in a position to get a good paying job so that you can continue to pursue your art form. And you won't have to go to a bank to get a loan, because all you will have to do is, with your good paying job, is work a little more overtime than you already are doing and go buy that piece of equipment that you need to get eventually. So you don't have to worry about a bunch of debt hanging over your head. Just work some extra overtime, buy whatever microphones, whatever keyboards, whatever consoles that you need to get, and whatever money that you're gonna need to be able to mass produce your product to be going on sale. These are the nuggets that I learned. These are the secrets of established artists that they may not tell you. Don't be a starving artist. Continue to go on to school after you graduate high school, whether it's in the skilled trades, whether it's hair, whether it's getting your degree from a 4-year institution or getting your master's degree. The better paying job that you get, the sooner you're going to be able to go out and buy all of this equipment for your own self to be able to manufacture your projects and to continue on with your art and your art form. And you will not have to be a starving artist on top of it. So once again, take a look at these videos here of mine, and please like, please share, and please subscribe. And peace.